Okay, before I even get started talking about what I'm going to talk about today, let's get one thing very, very clear. The Titanic, like the moon landing, was a real event, and it actually sank on April 15th, 1912, 100 years ago today. Okay, we clear? Alright, good. Let's roll the intro. Now, some of you may not know the exact history or all the little details of Titanic, so I'm going to give a kind of general background. On September 17th, 1908, the British company White Star Line ordered 3 massive ships to be built. One of them was, of course, the Titanic. Building began on March 31st, 1909, and was completed 26 months later on May 31st, 1911. Then on April 2nd, 1912, the ship completed its first test runs on open water, just 8 days before it was due to launch for its maiden voyage. Here's a tip: if you're going to launch the biggest ship ever, don't start testing a week and a half before you put 2,500 people on it. Just a thought. Make sure that shit's ready to go. Then, on April 10th, 1912, the ship set off from Southampton for New York City. Side note, Southampton was not actually the Titanic's home port. The home port was Liverpool, which the Titanic never docked in. So why it's still home is beyond me. 5 days after launch, the Titanic struck an iceberg and Jack and Rose had to float on a door. But, did you know that the cost to build the ship itself was $192 million cheaper than it cost to make the movie? Apparently it's cheaper to build a big ass ship and actually sink it than it is to pretend to. But those numbers don't account for inflation, so the difference isn't as dramatic. But the movie is still more expensive, even after adjustment. To get a first class ticket aboard the Titanic, you had to pay $4,700, which adjusted for inflation to today's money is $50,000. I'm glad travel's a lot cheaper now. Of the 4 smokestacks on the Titanic, the big tower looking things, only 3 of them were actually operational. The one at the back was just added to make the ship look bigger. Originally, the Titanic was supposed to have 32 lifeboats, but management felt that the deck would look cluttered if they included that many, and so they cut the number down to 20. But even after this reduction, they were still well above lifeboat regulations for the time, even though they couldn't even fit half their passengers on lifeboats. The afternoon of the 15th, the New York Evening Sun's headline read, "All saved from Titanic after collision." Yeah, they were just a bit off. On the day the ship hit the iceberg, the crew received 6 ice warnings from other ships in the area. Now, call me a pussy, but I received 1 ice warning, and I'm out. I'm gone. Turn this mother sucker around. When the Carpathia, the ship that came in and pulled out all the survivors, entered the ice field, it was traveling 6 knots or about 7 miles per hour. When the Titanic entered the same ice field, it was going 22.5 knots, or 26 miles an hour, almost 4 times as fast. And last but not least, the Titanic's sister ship, the HMHS Britannic, suffered an eerily similar fate when it was sunk on November 21st, 1916, but it was involved in the war, so it's a little bit more normal, I guess. Not really normal, but you know what I mean. Kind of a bad decade for White Star. That's all I have for interesting facts on the Titanic. Hopefully I spike some curiosity in the event that inspires you to go out and learn a little bit more instead of just watching the movie. It is a really good movie though. And if I didn't, well, on you. Just kidding. Thanks for watching. On the day the ship hit the iceberg, oh my god. Hello?